Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, a free site, bettingangle.us, a free site. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Let's talk about the very early lines here for week 5 of the NFL. Some games have finished here. I get the feeling that there are opportunities all over the place. Let's grab some of these lines. Some of them have moved already. Next week, San Francisco visits the Rams. Right? Folks, I was able to get the Rams here just maybe about 20 minutes ago, laying 3 points over the San Francisco 49ers. I need for folks to understand that San Francisco is a bit of an illusion. They have a lot of injuries. Even Brock Purdy was just returning. Understand the defense is not what it once was. The team's out of sync. You saw that with the turnovers today. Nick Bosa is the latest big-time Niner. This is a former Defensive Player of the Year to be knocked out of action, and he's not coming back. Right? They didn't have him today. That initial rally around a fallen soldier dynamic won't be there for next week. I understand Shanahan has done well in the past against the Rams. Oh, I got to tell you, folks, look at the box score carefully. Touchdown, Puka Nakua. Yardage, Devontae Adams. Look at Stafford's numbers. I know they were a little inflated because of that 80-yarder, but Stafford is feasting. The Rams are thriving. The Niners, the record is a little bit deceptive, right? A game against Seattle that could have gone either way. Mac Jones wins 2 games. Let's just say that I believe the Rams at home handle the Niners next week. I like the Rams laying 3. Also, Baltimore out of sync. Lamar Jackson didn't return to the game because of what's being called a hamstring injury. Folks, you know my feeling on hamstrings. That's an injury that takes multiple weeks to come back from. Now, I don't know whether they talked about Lamar's hamstring, just as a reason to take him out of the game. But let's just say Baltimore looked awful today against Pat Mahomes and company. Pat Mahomes threw for at least 3 TDs. I don't see how Baltimore at home against Houston can be trusted to lay 9.5 points. That's the line right now. Right? Houston, of course, looked great, but they were playing a team that's not great. I like Houston getting 9.5 points on the road at Baltimore next week. Next, look, I know Tampa came into this week looking great. I understand Philadelphia is a hard team to deal with. Let me tell you another one. Seattle, in Seattle. Folks, Seattle's defense is legit. It's the regular season. Sam Darnold is going to be more legit than he'll be in the postseason. I like Seattle laying 2.5. The line right now is great to me because it's less than a field goal. I like Seattle at home, dealing with the visiting Tampa Bay Buccaneers after a big game for Tampa. Right? Understand, Tampa just played the, Super Bowl champion Eagles, and of course Seattle didn't play today. They've had the benefit of extra rest. I like Seattle at home laying 2.5 points. Next, you saw the Chargers. By the way, this is the problem with Justin Herbert. You saw the Chargers against a Giant team with a rookie quarterback. And the Chargers laid an egg. Really, the offense laid an egg. Right? I'm expecting Herbert to get it back together when he returns home next week against Washington. Washington had Marcus Mariota back out there today. Mariota certainly has earned being backup quarterback for some team next year, right? Guys who are able to play multiple games and actually do fairly well, are the guys who have priority in terms of being backup quarterbacks, right? Mac Jones has earned being a backup next year, right? Mac Jones actually got wins as a backup. Marcus Mariota won last week. This week, I believe he threw for a couple of picks. Double check me on that. A couple of touchdowns, rather. Double check me on that. But let's just say, them against the Charger defense, and the Charger defense contained the Giants today. Just look at the low yardage that Jackson Dart got, right? And if they switch out from Mariota to Jaden Daniels next week, I feel that volatility comes from a lack of continuity. I like the Chargers. Right now, you're getting them laying 3. I grabbed this line before it floated above 3. I like the Chargers next week, laying 3 points at home against the Washington Commanders. Finally, Detroit at Cincinnati. Detroit has a gifted offense. You saw that today. Look at the number of touchdowns. They have many playmakers on offense. They're playing a Cincinnati team that practically has no defense, right? The over-under is less than 50. It's 49.5. Let me say, too, that when you have playmakers like Cincinnati has on offense, right? Think, Chase, think Higgins. I believe you could have a situation, even if Detroit comes out and dominates, like you had in today's Steeler game, where the Vikings scored a lot of points late in that game, right? I could easily see if Detroit comes out and continues this juggernaut offensive performance, right? This is not the Detroit offense of week 1. This is now the juggernaut in full bloom, right? More than 3 weeks into the season. Even if Detroit comes out and jumps out on Cincinnati, because this Cincinnati defense is not going to know what hit them, right? I'm expecting Cincinnati to continue to put up the effort because that's the way offensive juggernaut players do it. In other words, if you contain Jamar Chase for, 3.5 quarters, he's going to blow up. He's going to have some big plays in the last half of the fourth quarter, right? So to me, the over 49.5, just off pride, right? Cincinnati at home is the line I like. I'm not taking a side here because I don't like the line on the game. I am taking the over 49.5. I'll be surprised if that doesn't creep upward. So those are the picks I like. LA -3, Houston +9.5, Seattle -2.5, the Chargers -3, the over 49.5 in the Detroit Bengal game. Those are my picks. Let me hear yours. Let me hear your comments. Don't limit yourself to the games I've mentioned in the comment section of this YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by.